Yeah. 2. Yeah. Aye. I'm jacking the beat, you calling the cops. The yapping is cheap, I call you the ops. The rapping is heating, it's all cause of pop. You get a leak for the ball, get a drop. Feel like I'm wrong when I double it back, cause I'm making it harder to catch that. But I covered the ticket, I call you to visit. You tipping and hit up the cash app. Baby girl, been around for it, yeah. In the old days, I was stuck in old ways. Never really trying to flip the old page. Young man tripping at an old age. Thinking I was flicking, had a low wage. Led the bro days, then a slow praise. Thinking it'd be different, it would gon' change. Then it really didn't, it's a cold game, yeah. Ay, all I really wanted was the money in the pocket. Got over money, but the money ain't a topic. Like Bill Doe and the money gotta stop it. Kid need food and the whip need juice. I'ma get these views when the work hard, play hard, homeboy, everybody ain't calling out. Got a mouthpiece from the southeast, if you want scrap, stall him out. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then I feel good, man, I'm balling out. I'm a rich man with a rich fam, Christ bars got me out of mama house. And I bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Big God, big grace. Big God, big grace. Big God, big grace. Big God, big grace. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Big God, big grace.
What it do, baby? It's your partner looking old, so fresh, cold, clean. You see that thing, guys? And welcome to another edition of the Countermove podcast. We kind of lean in, look at a issue in society, lean in and reason together, guys, and prescribe the wisest solution, guys. Man, welcome again, guys. You see me looking better than you. Take that damn picture. But, guys, let's get into this thing today, guys. Man, before I begin anything, guys, if you could, share and subscribe, guys, if you like what you're hearing, guys. Let's get into this thing, guys. Today, guys, we're going to talk about something that's been talked about a lot over the last 24 to 48 hours, really 72 hours. And this is the Trump indictment, guys, in Georgia. This is number 4 for him. This is number 4. So this is the Trump indictment, guys. Number 4, guys. He has one in I believe, New York, Florida, Washington, D.C., and now Georgia. This is number 4, guys. And so, hey, we looked at, I believe, the first 2. Didn't look at the third one, but we're going to look at the 4th one, guys. Let's dive in and really look at this thing. And there's been a lot of spinning going on when it comes to these indictments, guys. And hey, your partner, man, we're going to look at this thing from a wise perspective and see what's going on, guys, from a balanced perspective. So if you're looking for some type of debate, do me a favor and skedaddle out here. But if you're looking for something to kind of lean and reason together and begin to look at things from a balanced, wise perspective, let's dive into this thing, man. So, guys, let's dive right into this real quickly. Let's bring on real quickly the Georgia DA. Her name is Fani Willis. She actually came and announced this, guys. So we're gonna look at how we got here, and then we're gonna look at some response and some legal analysis, really, guys, from the liberal side, from the Democrat side, concerning this liberal or Democrat district attorney bringing this indictment, guys. So nothing conservative, all from a liberal perspective, guys, from a Democrat perspective, guys. Let's see what they're saying right there. And these are seasoned constitutional attorneys from the liberal side. All right, guys, let's see what's going on with Fani Willis. Let's see what she talked about. Here we go. Let's get into this thing.
Thank you for joining us. I'm here with the prosecutors and investigators who have worked diligently on the investigation of criminal attempts to interfere in the administration of Georgia's 2020 presidential election.
So off the rip, she's saying that what she's going to detail out, these are criminal acts. So if there's criminal acts, there's statutes that these acts have violated. So that's what's going on here. So she's beginning from the get-go saying these are criminal acts. Let's see what's going down.
Today, based on information developed by that investigation, a Fulton County grand jury returned a true bill of indictment, charging 19 individuals with violations of Georgia law arising from a criminal conspiracy
Criminal.
to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election in this state.
So immediately she's again doubling down on the word criminal. I'm a terms and definitions guy. That's what I am. So she's saying what she's going to detail. What she's going to detail. There are statutes on the books in Georgia that these actions have violated. So it's the second time she's done this. All right. So we're not going to go through the entire indictment because it's a long period of time. But I wanted to unpack this real fast. But let's keep going. Let's go.
The indictment includes 41 felony counts
41.
and is 97 pages long.
It's long.
Please remember that everyone charged in this bill of indictment is presumed innocent. Specifically, the indictment brings felony charges against Donald John Trump, Rudolph William Louis Giuliani, John Charles Eastman,
Okay.
Mark Randall Meadows,
Okay.
John Cheeseborough, Jeffrey Clark,
She reads off this stuff.
Jenna Lynn Ellis,
Okay, attorney.
Ray Stallings Smith
I don't know who that is.
III,
Okay.
Robert David Cheeley,
Okay.
Michael A. Roman,
All right.
David James Schaefer,
Okay.
Sean Micah Tresher Steele, Stephen Cliffgard Lee,
Okay.
Harrison William Prescott Floyd, Travion C. Cootie,
Okay.
Sydney Catherine Powell,
Okay.
Kathleen Austin Latham,
All right.
Scott Graham Hall,
Okay.
and Misty Hampton, also known as Emily Misty Hayes.
So that's a lot. I think there's 18, 19 people total that she's actually said that they have violated literal statutes in Georgia because you mentioned the word criminal twice. All right. Now I kind of read the indictment, guys, a little bit of it as well. I've heard some dialogue concerning the indictment, guys, and a lot of this stuff is basically based on speech, things of that nature, and there's some about RICO as well. RICO, racketeering, and I forgive me, I know what RICO is, but it's normally for like crime boss, mob boss stuff, things of that nature. And Michael Francis, if you don't know who that is, he's a literal former mobster. He's been indicted 3 times in this RICO case. So again, I am not an attorney at all. I don't have a legal license at all, period. Not at all. I'm just a person like you, understanding what's going on. That's it. So now we've kind of actually read what she's actually said. She said that they have violated criminal acts. She said that there are felonies, right? She then listed the names, and then she's going to read through all of the acts. It's about 10, 15 minutes. We're not going to go through every single one, guys, because I want to keep you focused. But now let's bring in some legals, right, that know more than you and I combined. And guys, they're actually on the liberal side. They actually vote Democrat, right? They vote. And these are constitutional attorneys, and they are professors, all right? Nothing on the conservative side, all on the liberal side, all right? Let's see what's going on. And these were probably some of the most fairest and balanced that I actually received, okay? So let's bring in one guy first. Let's bring in Alan Dershowitz. Now, why did I pick Alan Dershowitz? Well, number one, he's voted against Donald Trump every single time. He's never voted conservative. He's always voted for Democrats. He voted for Hillary Clinton, Al Gore. He actually defended Al Gore in the 2000 election. He was actually one of the attorneys on Al Gore's team. So he's a full-fledged Democrat. But he's also a Harvard Law emeritus and professor. He knows so much about the Constitution; it's ridiculous. So he actually defended O.J. Simpson as well. That's why he really kind of got his name was with O.J. Simpson. So he actually came on, guys, and talked about this. Guys, let's see what Alan is talking about real quickly, and see what he has to say about what's going on. All right, let's see what's going on here. Boom, here we go. Let's see.
Book Get Trump, Alan Dershowitz. Perfect timing for your book, Professor. But this whole idea of them leaking the actual charges that ended up being the real indictment hours prior, and then they're walking back saying,
now, they're going to talk about the leaking of it. I'm not concerned about none of the leaking at all. Period. I want to get to the meat and potatoes of his legal analysis from a constitutional standpoint on what he thinks about this indictment as a whole, specifically the Georgia indictment. Okay, so let's go past this.
He had no idea. We're just playing around, testing the system. Number one, do you buy that? And number two, does that somehow help Trump's case, saying that they've already predetermined the outcome of this?
Here we go.
Of course I don't buy it. It was a Freudian leak. Okay. It was a way of telling that it really doesn't matter whether the grand jury votes or doesn't vote. It's really the prosecutor who indicts. So there was an indictment. The prosecutor asked for it. She was going to get it.
Now, what he's saying right there, guys, is an indictment is just an accusation by a prosecutor against said subjects. It's an accusation. And what Alan is saying is that no matter if it's leaked, what he's saying is from a legal perspective, whenever a prosecutor brings in an indictment, they get it 100% of the time. So he in his mind, he's not really concerned about the leak at all, or whatever it was. He's saying it didn't matter if it leaked at all. This was going to happen. So let's keep going.
All the grand jury does is rubber stamp 23 chairs moved around by the prosecutor. So actually they performed a public service by making it clear to all of us that you do not take seriously a grand jury indictment.
That's good.
Don't ever say, 23 people considered this and indicted. No, they don't even vote on it before the indictment is issued.
Wow.
It's just the prosecutor's decision. And it's a terrible decision because the indictment itself is awful. It's an act of...
So you actually have a liberal attorney who votes Democrat all the time, constitutional attorney, professor. He has all the credentials, saying this is a terrible indictment. Let's see why.
Creativity. It reads to me like an exam answer to a question in law school.
Wow.
How creative can we be? How much can we stretch the statute? We'll use RICO. Yeah, it was intended for organized crime.
Wow.
But we'll use it for a political campaign.
Okay.
You know what we're going to do? We're going to indict Mark Meadows, even though he only was involved in one phone call, but we're going to make him sit for 3 months through a trial, and maybe his name will be mentioned once.
So he's saying this RICO charge was used and it was stretched as much as it can. It can probably get, and not as much as it can, but it was stretched so that she can make an overarching indictment. And then he mentioned Mark Meadows, who was the chief of staff for the president at the time, making one phone call. And because it was stretched so much, what actually happened is she now lumped him into the indictment as well also. That's why he's saying that it is a erroneous indictment that making legal sense. But let's keep going.
It's an outrageous indictment, and it should be dismissed, but it won't be because it's in Georgia.
Now he says that this indictment should be dismissed on appeal, of course, but he said it won't be because it's in Georgia in the area to where it's heavily leans liberal. And so what he's saying is based on that fact. If it goes to trial because of the political leanings, he's predicting from a legal perspective now that it would indict Trump, not based on the merits, because he's saying based on the merits, this is an erroneous and non-legal. He even said it was a legal essay, so to speak, because of the amount of creativity there when it comes to criminal law. When it comes to criminal law, guys, I know my attorneys have told me it's black and white, guilty and innocent. There should be no stretching at all. That's why I say these decisions are made through a moral compass, guys. Moral compasses make decisions. So let's keep going. We're not done. Here we go.
Georgia, the only way justice will be gotten is if some of the defendants, and only some of them, can move to have the trial removed to federal court.
Wait a minute.
Trump can do that. Meadows can do that. Giuliani can't do that. In order to move it into federal court, you have to be a federal official at the time of the alleged crime, and the alleged crime has to be within the scope of your duty and authority. In Meadows' case, it's easy. He was listening in on a phone call. Yep. That's his job. He's the chief of staff.
Job.
So he may very well succeed, but we'll wait and see.
So what Alan is saying is that the natural defense to this for the federal employees like Donald Trump as the president, Mark Meadows, and a couple other people as well also, they can have this moved to federal court out of the state because it's under a federal jurisdiction. That's an interesting thing, but that is legally correct. They can't do that because they were acted in a federal capacity. But he's correct about that. Let's keep going.
Professor, in your very qualified expert opinion, will Trump do jail time because of this one?
Jail time. Here we go.
Or any of them?
I don't think he'll do jail time in any of them, even though in this one, he has a mandatory prison sentence if he's convicted, and he very likely will be convicted.
Wow. Okay.
By a jury that has, 3-1 Republicans over Democrats.
Yeah.
But I think he'll get bail pending appeal, and I think the appellate court will reverse the conviction. I think that's true in the New York case as well. He'll get convicted in New York because in New York they'll convict a ham sandwich if his name is Trump.
Wow.
And I think he may get a hung jury or an acquittal in Florida.
Okay.
And District of Columbia, there'll be a conviction too. But those cases will go to the courts of appeals and ultimately the Supreme Court, where I think common sense and the rule of law may very well prevail.
So he's saying, he mentioned the word common sense at the end when he goes to the appellate and to the Supreme Court. So it's natural to conclude. He said already that this is an uncommon sense type of indictment. It didn't make any legal sense. Not based on my opinion. This is based on a liberal constitutional professor who's actively practicing law, who teaches this at Harvard. Because he's a Harvard emeritus professor. That is his title. So this ain't based on LaDale. I'm not an attorney. I'm a business guy. This is based on a liberal attorney. This is something here. And so he's saying that this is erroneous. And he wouldn't even have any jail time. So if he's convicted in Georgia, and he says that he'll be convicted in Georgia, in New York, also in Washington, D.C., all three of those areas are heavy liberal. And he said in Florida, it'd probably be a hung jury. All right. And so, but he said in any of these cases, he will not see any jail time at all, period, because they'll just appeal it up to the appellate court, then to the Supreme Court, when he then says common sense will prevail. This is a liberal attorney. All right. Nothing conservative, straight liberal, balanced. And this is a guy that wants to vote against Donald Trump in 2024. So he's not doing this to vote for him. He's doing this to vote against him. That's straightforward. Straightforward. All right, guys. So, man, let's keep going. Hold on. We're almost done.
Professor, about 20 seconds or so. Does this all go down literally before the 2024, November of 2024?
Probably not. The prosecutor in Georgia lied to the American public, to the media, and to her people when she said she's trying to bring this case to trial within 6 months. It's impossible. She knows that. She looked us in the eye and she lied through her teeth. Isn't that ironic? In a case she's bringing, charging Donald Trump with lying, she starts the case by lying, by absolutely lying about 6 months. It can't happen. I've been doing this for 60 years. I've never heard of a case of this complexity being tried within 6 months.
But, strange.
Wow. So Alan Dershowitz is saying that Fani Willis is lying by saying that she's going to get this tried in 6 months. He said it's impossible. You have 19 accused indictees. He said it's logistically impossible. So he's saying she legitimately lied to the American people, to her constituents. That's pretty forceful, guys. Again, liberal attorney, Harvard emeritus, professor, constitutional attorney who defended O.J. Simpson and votes Democrat 100% of the time and wants to vote against Trump in 2024. They can't get no more liberal than that. All right, guys, that's Alan Dershowitz, guys. Now let's bring in another legal analysis, all right? This is from Jonathan Turley. Jonathan Turley is another liberal, all right, who's going to vote against Donald Trump, okay? He gives his legal analysis on this as well also. It's real simple, guys. Let's see what's going on with him now. Let's bring him in and see what John Turley has to say as well also, all right? Here we go. Let's bring him on. Boom. Come on in, Jonathan. That's what's going on.
My
Thanks,
pleasure.
Jonathan. Let's bring in another Jonathan. Jonathan Turley, Fox News contributor, George Washington University law professor. Jonathan, this is not a surprise, but the fact that they went late into the night and rushed to do it, and they had a premature release, and then denied knowing anything about it, I thought was noteworthy. What stands out to you?
Well, I did find that statement by the district attorney to be baffling. To say, well, I don't know anything about the clerk's office.
Interesting.
If this was a premature publication of the indictment, it's a serious mishap. You'd think she'd be somewhat curious as to how that happened. But the indictment is, as we expected, founded on this broad racketeering claim. You've got 18.
So he's saying that it's a broad racketeering claim. So he's saying it's very broad. So he's kind of mirroring exactly what Alan Dershowitz actually said. All right, let's keep going. Let's see what he's talking about. Let's keep going.
Individuals who are charged. Willis seems to have charged everything and everyone, is allowing God to sort them out.
Wow.
You look at this indictment, and every call, every tweet, every speech seems to be a separate criminal act that.
So he's saying that she's classifying every call, every text, every tweet, you know what I'm saying, is a criminal act. That's what she's doing. That's why he means by broad. She's lumping everything under this racketeering type of thing, and then saying every tweet, text message, phone call, which they were acting in their official capacity as a president of the United States or chief of staff, what it may be, or even an attorney to the president as well, also who's advising them. He's basically saying that all communications were criminal acts. That is crazy town. But let's keep going. Let's see what's going on. Let's keep going.
Composes this conspiracy. That raises really troubling questions as to the criminalization of the challenges to elections. I've been covering presidential elections a long time. I can't remember how many. But in every single presidential election, we track challenges by Democrats, by Republicans. Some of them are based on strong evidence, some are not.
Okay.
Even in this election, you had people like Mark Elias for the Democratic Party after these acts alleged that voting machines in New York were the cause of flipping an election and challenge.
So he's saying that Mark Elias, who is a very well-known liberal attorney, was doing the exact same things as with these indictments. This indictment says that Trump and his crew was doing, and there was nothing brought against him because it was a part of the political process of challenging elections, challenging the results, which is pretty normal. If you look at every single presidential election and even some congressional elections, there's always a challenge. There's always a potential challenge, recounts, taking things to court. Well, what this indictment is saying, based on what Jonathan Turley is saying, he's saying that the normal operating practices of a judicial review of the election results, Fani Willis, is now saying that these are crimes. And she's putting this all under racketeering because it was conspiracy. And he's saying if that's a conspiracy, what about Michael Elias? He did the same thing. But hey, let's keep going.
Challenging that election. Was that a crime? Of course it wasn't. It was a challenge. They were looking for judicial review.
So he's saying that what Mark Elias did, and I agree with him, was not a crime. It was a challenge, which is normal in the political process. These are not crimes at all. It's a part of the political process. That's what it is. And I agree with Jonathan Turley. Let's keep going.
So it's a very troubling indictment.
Jonathan.
So he's saying that this is a troubling indictment. And I have to agree because basically what he's saying is he's saying that the normal operating procedures when it comes to political results, whether in an election, this time it was a presidential election, these are normal operating procedures which both sides have done several different times, but now it's a crime. But no, this is not a crime. This is just challenges, which is okay because both sides do it. I agree. This is not hard to understand. And when you begin to When you begin, come back to me real fast, guys. When you begin to try to criminalize political stuff, we're in some troubling times now. That's why I said this is very, very troubling, because what's happening is the district attorney is just throwing stuff up against the wall and see what sticks. This is dangerous because it sets a precedence. All right, then this could happen to you, someone else, or you, me, because someone that didn't like what you said. That's what's troubling about it as well. So, man, again, this is another. Jonathan Turley is a liberal constitutional attorney from Georgetown University, right? Has all credentials, who votes Democrat, who wants to vote against Donald Trump in 2024 if Trump gets the nomination. So both Alan Dershowitz as well as Jonathan Turley, both liberal, want the chance to vote against Donald Trump if Trump gets the nomination. You can't get no balance than that, guys. This is, whoo, my word. Now, let's go at Jonathan real fast. He's almost done, because him and Alan have different views when it comes to a certain point. Let's go back to Alan real fast. Let's go back to Jonathan real fast. Here we go.
Jonathan, they waited 2.5 years to do this. If they had a problem, our question is, why didn't they take this to court 2.5 years ago?
Good question.
Why wait in all 4 of these indictments until a year before the election, knowing these court cases are happening next year, when we'll all be going to the polls in November?
Good question.
I think that's a fair question.
Yes.
I think that the former president was within his rights to raise it. I think there's support for it. This indictment obviously could have been brought long before yesterday.
Yes.
It seemed to have been timed to hit right in the middle of the election.
Interesting.
And now we have a pileup.
So now he's saying that this is timed, coordinated, right, to unfold in the middle of an election season. Pretty slick political type of gamesmanship, right? So hey, that's what he's saying. Here we go. But it's a part of the game. Part of the game. Do I agree with it? No, but it's part of the game.
This president is being really pursued pillar to post across the country in different jurisdictions.
Yeah.
There's going to be a reaction to that.
Ooh.
I mean, there is. This is a very troubling thing to watch.
Very troubling.
The thing about Georgia, though, that I think the Trump team should discount.
Listen to this.
Is that this has legs. Because it was brought under the racketeering statute, it's going to be very hard to get an appellate review to knock this out on threshold questions.
Okay.
Racketeering cases are largely fact cases.
So what he's saying right there as far as racketeering is he's saying that initially what's going to happen if the Trump team, if they try to appeal to the appellate court because it's under racketeering, he's saying that it is going to be very hard for the appellate court to throw it out before the trial. That's what he's actually saying. And he may have some merit there. He knows more about this area than I do. So I'm listening to what he's saying. Let's keep going.
And the prosecutors argue, let us prove our case.
See,
let us bring the evidence together.
Before.
So the chances of this surviving a review are likely quite high, at least in some form. Now, in the D.C. case, the judge there could cause a similar problem. She could make it difficult for Trump to get to the Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court on what I think are major threshold constitutional questions. That is, unlike Georgia, Jack Smith is creating new law. And
so Jonathan is saying the special counsel Jack Smith is in Washington, D.C., creating new law. Prosecutors are not supposed to create laws. They're supposed to enforce laws on the books, right? The creating laws falls under the legislative branch for the city, counties, states, and federal, okay, which is the legislative branch, right? For every level of government. What he's saying is Jack Smith is creating law in Washington, D.C. That is a pinpointed analysis of what's going on in Washington, D.C. Man, this is good. Let's keep going.
And it's not going to please a lot of these higher courts. In Georgia, this is a state action. Elections fall within their purview, so it's going to be harder to take out a case like this on a threshold challenge.
Yes.
Sure. Jonathan Turley, we've got 5 more minutes on the clock with you.
So that's Jonathan Turley. Got again balanced view. I like the end. That's why I like Jonathan when it comes to this type of topic. Is he was saying that if the Trump team tries to get an appellate review to get this kicked out before the trial, that may be difficult because under the racketeering type of charge, I believe that is what the DA wanted to do as well also. But the counter move to that, guys, would be the Trump team and a couple of the employees on Trump as well, and maybe even the attorneys as well also, making a case to move this to a federal court because there's law on the books that states that they can do that because they were acting in under a federal office. So that is possible. Matter of fact, Mark Meadows has already filed for this to go to the federal court because he was a federal employee acting in a federal type of capacity. That's what Alan Dershowitz talked about in the previous video. But guys, man, this was so good, interesting, guys. Again, both of the attorneys are liberal attorneys with the credentials, with the Harvard law professor, Georgetown professor, emeritus from Harvard, emeritus from, I believe, from Georgetown as well also, constitutional attorneys. Both are liberal, and they want the chance, if Donald Trump is the nominee, to vote against Donald Trump. Good, balanced view. Here's my reaction to all this. It is all political. As I was reading through and hearing different debates concerning this indictment, all of this is based on, it's a First Amendment type of case. It is not, there was no laws violated, hence the racketeering umbrella. That's the reason why Alan Dershowitz said that this is baseless. It's erroneous. It didn't make any sense at all. That is what is going on here. And then Jonathan Turley said when it comes to Washington, D.C., Jack Smith is making up new laws, creating new laws. That's very, very dangerous, guys. All right? And so it's sad to see. It's a political move, right? Really from the liberal side. It's a political move. So this is going to be a chess match. Back and forth, back and forth. She's going to see this whole thing about it. I do agree with Alan Dershowitz when he said that he won't go to jail. No, he won't, not at all. Number two, the trials will not most likely take place before the election at all because there are going to be so many motions filed. In the Georgia case, you're going to have 19 different motions filed. That's why Alan Dershowitz said that the DA lied to the people, saying that she's going to get this tried in 6 months. He said logistically it doesn't make any sense. It does not at all because you have so many motions being filed, and you have attorneys who are on indictment hiring more attorneys. So you got it's like the legal Super Bowl up in there, man. This is gonna be something serious, man. Do I agree with it? No. It is strictly political. I think it's bad for our country. You know what I'm saying? Creating laws out of whole cloth, stretching laws, which is terrible. This lets me understand the moral compass of those that are doing it. You see what I'm saying? I would say, as a man thinketh in his mind, so is he. So you're beginning to see how these people, these prosecutors are thinking. It's all about, I agree with Alan Dershowitz, get Trump. I believe that they do want to get him off of the ballot as well via the 14th Amendment. That's I think it's going to be a moot point as well. Also, they're really trying to wound him as much as he can if he gets the nomination, guys. It's sad because realistically, it kind of tanks the waters because voters want the freedom, and we should have the freedom to make the choice. All right, and so that's my 2 cents on it, guys. This is bad for the country. I disagree with it 100% of the time, and I believe, to be honest with you, this has been done before in the past to other to other individuals, and a lot of the stuff got overturned as well. Manufacturing evidence, stretching laws. This is not uncommon. That's why LaDale Buggs said that whenever indictment comes, all the grand jury does is just rubber stamp it. It's really the decision of the prosecutors. Prosecutors have a lot of authority here in this country, guys. I think a little bit too much authority, but that's how our system works, unfortunately, guys. That's how it works, guys. So that's why when the Bible says, and I'm going to go biblical real quickly, when it comes to issue, solve it outside of the court. Because if not, this mess happens. You see what I'm saying? You invite other entities into the decision-making process that are governed by their moral compass, which may not be the same as yours. That's why you should make peace with all men. That's what's going on, guys. But man, this was fun for me, guys, to kind of really look at and analyze, which is fine. Some people told me that I could have been an attorney in another life, but I digress. What's the counter move for you? I always say, guys, peep it, sweep it, then keep it, guys. I always say, guys, as you are looking at the situation, examine your current situation. All right? How does this make you feel? Do you believe that this is fair? You believe that it's fair? You believe that hey, Trump's done something wrong. And my rebuttal will be, okay, if he's done something wrong, what did he do wrong? So are we fishing for crimes now? That's what I kind of see. So examine what's with your situation. How are you viewing the situation? Are you viewing it from a biased standpoint, from a balanced standpoint? That decision is really up to you. All right. Then I'm gonna go straight to the keep it stage, not the sweep it stage. Okay. Start thinking generationally, guys, with your votes. All right. Start thinking generationally with your votes. Okay. If you are okay with how things are coming down, vote that everything should be the same. Just be okay with if the tables are turned upon you, don't cry wolf, because this is what you like. Okay, if this is okay with you, be okay with those same penalties pointed towards you, possibly unfairly. Be okay with that. Don't cry wolf. But if you're saying this is unfair, hey, think generation with your votes. Vote these people out. Vote them out. There's one thing that I see a lot of the times when it comes to a lot of voters. They'll vote for said people. Said people do not perform well, and they begin complaining, and then they vote for the same person that did the same thing that the person they voted out did. That's called insanity. That is stupidity. That really is, guys. If you don't like what's going on, start thinking and voting generationally, outside of yourself, 3 generations ahead of you. It's extremely simple, guys. It's not hard, okay? There's a lot of problems going on in our world, which is fine, and it's very easy just to bitch and moan. It's really easy to do that. But the leaders, those that want really to invoke change, begin to think outside of themselves at a higher why, a bigger why, which means they're thinking 3 generations ahead of them. All right? And for me, I don't like this at all. This is my opinion. I don't like it at all, because if this is done to someone that I love, or somebody that I don't know, I'll say this is terrible. This is awful. Period. But again, if it's okay with you, vote. Vote to keep this in. That's fine. Be okay with the consequences. If you don't like it, vote. No problem. Be okay with the consequences. Be okay with the results. Okay? But guys, that's all I have for today, man. Man, this was really fun, guys, man. Give me your thoughts, guys. Was I off base? Did I make some sense? Let me know. This was really fun for me, just to kind of listen to both sides. I heard the conservative side and I heard the liberal side. I thought it would be wise to bring to the table just the liberal side to see, and the most balanced view that I've heard on the liberal side, to infuse wisdom into the discussion. Not no more rah-rah siskumba, none of that garbage. It is to infuse wisdom in. And I think Jonathan Turley and Alan Dershowitz knocked it out of the park, guys. But guys, man, thank you so much for your time. God bless you. And oh yeah, tomorrow, guys, on Friday, somewhere in the middle of Sunni and Mo, come out, guys, every Friday at 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, guys. Hey, guys, every week I do this, guys. Here is a little sample of what you're going to get.
Now we're about to get.
I went down.
Facts on facts on facts. Hello.
Guys, that's somewhere in the middle with Sunni and Mo, guys. Man, they killing, knocking it out the park. They're gonna educate you. They're gonna entertain you, and you're gonna learn a little something. Grab your boo, sit down, laugh a little bit on Friday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And guys on Instagram, guys, thank you so much for timing in. I see you, Joe Collins. I see you, Big Dog. I see all the comments on Instagram, guys. Man, thank you for your time, man. God bless you. And you know how I end it every single time. Because I can, because it's me. Before you leave, and while you can, guys, you see that thing, take that damn picture and give it to your mom and them. Now say it with your chest and holler at your partner. God bless you guys. See you next week. Peace.
Long live the king.